Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Master Your Google Drive Part 2. I'm G. William James, and apologize for the slight delay. As I mentioned in the very first session, that we were having some technical issues. This is a new platform for presenting for me, and so just getting used to the whole process is a little bit curve bending. But nonetheless, we're going to get started and we're going to make this happen, and it's going to be fantastic. I think you're going to like this one even better than we did before. So let's start again with how to keep in contact with me. For those of you all who missed part one, we're going to see that we can get you into part one and watch it, but you don't have to have part one under your belt before you get this one, because they're actually two different topics, if you will. But you can always reach me at my website at gwilliamjames.com, or you can email me directly at william@gwilliamjames.com. And then, of course, you see my whole suite of social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. All right, so let's go ahead and get busy with this. I need you all to send me an email, just like we did before. Send me an email to the same email address, william@gwilliamjames.com. And in the subject line, this time I want you to write Google Drive 2, spelling out the TWO. What was funny was last session when we were doing Google Drive 1, people were getting, they were typing in the number 1 and not getting the email. They were not getting the email back, and it's because it required the word to be spelled out instead of the number. So if you type in Google Drive 2, you will get a reply with today's handout. Today's handout is different from the other day's handout. So go ahead and get that going, and we're going to move from there. All right. So last Monday, when we talked about the Google Drive from the perspective of being an essential drive of your part of your mobile office solution, we talked about the benefits of using it for your documents, your spreadsheets, your presentations that would be equivalent to Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And because of that, it has really revolutionized the whole process of communication from that perspective, because the cloud versions of these technologies allow us so much more than what we've been accustomed to using those tools. So Google Drive is a major part of that. It is a service by which we can store and save our documents on the cloud safely away from our computers. If your computers and your phones and your tablets all magically disappeared one day, all you'd have to do is replace them and sign into your account, and everything that you have there would be magically replaced back onto your devices because they're being safely stored on your Google Drive account on the cloud. So it is really a storage tool and a way that we can synchronize between our devices, synchronize between our mobile devices and our cloud app, so that we will be able to have the same thing on both devices or all devices at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and skip these. You're going to get these slides on your device anyway. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these are the tools of the Google universe as it relates to Drive. We talked about Docs, Google Docs. We talked about Google Sheets. We talked about Google Slides on Google Part 1. Today, we're going to talk about forms, drawings, My Maps, and sites. And of course, we're going to do a review of backup and sync, because that is part of the core of being able to successfully use Google Drive. All right. So with that being said, let me just come out of the forms here, and let's go live to the internet. So I'm going to switch over here, and we're going to go to the internet and to Google Drive. Let's switch over and see. Okay, there we are. So I wanted to make sure that you're able to see the screen. If you're having any problems, please let me know. I'm monitoring the chat as well. So this is my Google Drive on the cloud. And I'm not going to go through the anatomy of it like we did in part one. You can always go back and watch part one to see where you find your files in your different folders and all of that. But I do want to review the sync portion of this. If you've never done this before, then what you have to do is you have to start over here at this gear, which is settings, and you'll find the same gear in all your Google applications. And we'll start by saying get backup and sync for Windows or Mac, whichever computer system you're on. You will download this application to your computer. At that point, it will actually add the app, let's see, down here at the bottom, to your system tray. There's my Google Drive app right there. And you will open that and you would customize it. You would go in, sign into your account, and then you would customize it, and you would tell the system what files, what folders you want to sync from your computer to the cloud and vice versa. And that's how we were able to get these folders over here. Most of these were actually created on the cloud app, but they were synchronized to the desktop. So now they're actually in the computer. Now, what's novel about this is that you can do what's called a selective sync. And so let's say if you look at these file folders over here on the left side, and I got a new computer, or I have a computer that the family shares, I can sync my Google Drive files to that new computer, but I can choose which files I want to omit from that. So let's say I would only want the years 2020 and 2021 to go to that new computer, and all the rest would stay on the cloud. So from that particular computer, I would go into the settings and I would tell it only sync those two files to that computer. Now, your laptop that you use for business primarily, or what's in your office, you can sync everything to that separately, no problem. So there are some real novel and really good features around that. So today we're going to focus on 4 applications that we did not talk about in the last session. And if I click on over here to new, you'll see them. All right, here's Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. That's what we talked about on Monday. Here is one of my absolute favorite apps in the Google universe, Google Forms. With Google Forms, you have the ability to come in and create your own questionnaires, your own surveys, your own quizzes. And all you have to do is come in and ask the questions. So, for example, if I was asking for a new client intake form, I could come in and just say, okay, well, what is your name? And then over here, well, because I said name, it automatically assumed that I would rather have a short answer. And that would be where that person would reply with their name. And then I would duplicate that to the next one. And I would say your address. And again, now it's giving me a paragraph. You see, it automatically changed. And if I wanted to get the next one, say your phone, it switched back to short answer. So I'm just duplicating the questions. Now, you could just go on and continue and ask a person, well, you know, what their budget range is. Have they already been approved for their mortgage? What areas they're looking? What types of features are they specifically looking for? And if you wanted to, you could actually have a multiple choice question. See? You can ask for check boxes, or you can ask for multiple choice. You see? So check boxes means I can come in and I can say, for options, I want a ranch style house. And then add an option. And I could say that I want a 3-car garage. You see, and go on and on and on. And a person would be able to check each choice that they had, depending upon what you had in terms of the features. So the flexibility is all yours. Now, what's really great about these are that once you've created it, and I'm just going to do a quick preview of what we created just that quickly. Okay. And see, if I wanted to put in the information. I could add it right there. I could choose, I want a ranch style house with a 3-car garage, and then submit the form. All right, so it's been recorded. Now, if I go back to the forms, notice I've already got a response. So the moment you send this information out to a person, the moment that they fill out the form, it comes back to you as a response instantaneously. All right. This is one of the big benefits, because now we're not talking about giving people sheets of paper that they've got to get back to us, or mail back to us, or email that we have to respond to. They can go right on when you give them this form. All right. So for example, let's go into the settings here and we'll talk about how you send. Okay. I could send by email. So I can just connect and send this form out to a bunch of people by email. And when they get it, all they have to do is click on the form, fill it out, and press submit. It comes back immediately. I could put it as a link. Okay, here's a link. So if I'm doing this in my social media, asking for people to fill out this form, all they have to do is click on the link. The form pops up. They fill it in, press submit, and there it goes. If you wanted to put it on your website, here is the HTML embed code. So many of you may not know how to actually create new information on your website. You would simply copy this code and send it to the person who does your website, and they will be able to do that. You can also automatically share the form with Facebook or with Twitter just by clicking onto those links right there. So you have a number of different ways that you can share this information, and all you have to do is send it to them. I think using social media is one of the best ways of doing this. In fact, I want to show you a form that I created once before. And this is basically I believe this is the survey. Yeah. See, this is a survey where you can actually put in, a linear scale. How did we perform our services to you? Judge us by 1 to 5. Or what have you. You can do that. I also had a form. I was trying to, let me pull it up and do a quick search for it. And I'm going to find it. It's called Contacts Updater. Contacts Updater. All right. Let's see. All right. So here are the files, and here's the form. It's called the Contacts Updater. And in this form, I simply said, okay, everybody, I'm looking to update my contacts. Please give me your updated name, address, phone number, your email address, your birth date. Those of you all who came to my CRM and contacts webinar, you remember the importance of having a birth date. Would you like to have our updates in our newsletter? It's all here. When a person submitted this information, when it comes back instantaneously, just like this one, when you get a response, you can get the response coming back exactly like this. Or if you click on this little green box right here, it comes back to you as a spreadsheet. Now, for those of you all remembering back to our contacts and CRM webinar, the way to import new contacts into your Google Contacts or any other contacts application that you have, it's basically saving your data as a CSV spreadsheet. You see? So I did this a couple of times over the past few years, and I sent out a form like this. I put it on my social media and asked people to update their information. People with whom I had been in contact with, I may have gotten a new email address or a new mobile phone number or something to that effect, but I also was able to capture the information of people with whom I was only connected by social media. So they were able to read my posts and I was able to read theirs, but I didn't have any information by which they could become part of my marketing base. And now they are. Because once they filled out that form and submitted to me, now I have, in addition to their attention on social media, now I've got their name, address, and email and phone numbers. So I can contact them, I can follow up with them, and I can do business with them. So you want to use this form in many aspects. Realtors across the country are finding so much success using the Google form. It is an absolute amazing tool. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of the process, after you've closed, this would be a good way of getting an assessment of how people responded to your business, your services. Were they satisfied? Did they get a timely response from you? Were they overall satisfied with the process? How did they feel about the closing? And you can ask them multiple choice questions. You can give them check boxes. You can give them paragraph space so they can type all of their information. You can ask for rate this 1 to 5. There's all kinds of different ways that you can use this form. So here's my suggestion. I want you to go into Google Forms. You can just go back to the original page, go to New, select Google Forms, and then create. No one sees what you're doing unless you share them. So give yourself an opportunity. Go in and have some fun with these forms. Think of all the different ways that you can use it. I have a great idea. Thanksgiving is coming. And if you are going to host Thanksgiving dinner, how about creating a Google form that you can send out to all the people that you're inviting? And you can say, this is what the menu is going to be, or these are the options for the menu. Would you rather have red wine or white wine on the table? Would you rather have cranberry sauce from the can or cranberry sauce from fresh cranberries? Whatever you wanted to ask. And then send it out to everybody. Let them send you information back. That way you'll have a survey. So just try it. Just have some fun with it. And then use it a few times in a more, in a less professional environment. And then once you get comfortable with it, then you can start to use it in your business. I think you'll find it to be a fantastic, powerful tool that you will come to rely on over and over and over again. All right, so before I move on to the next one, let me just stop and see if there's anything in the room that I can answer. So all I'm saying is good morning and thanks everybody for your patience. I appreciate that as well. So far, no questions. All right, so let's move on. So let's go back to the main page. And I'm going to click on New. And this time I'm going to go to More because there's more pages here. Now, Google Drawings. Google Drawings is an application very much like what you've been used to in Microsoft when it comes to being able to create flyers and create other types of documents. Sometimes people lost their dog. They put a picture of the dog and, with the phone number, and then they'll print it out and they'll post it all over the place. You can create those here too, which can be printed, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can actually use these like everything else that you can use in Google, create it right here and then share it online. No paper is necessary. Share it in social media. Save it and share it on your blog. Share it by email. Share it by link. So you have so many different ways of creating content and sharing it. It's amazing. You can see from the menu that it's really very simple and very similar to what we've been using in other document applications that we've been using. So if you wanted to create and start with some new text, you would be able to do so. You would be able to easily just go in and say, okay, I want to insert a text box, and then go in and then type in, it's a new listing, for example. And then, of course, do all the things you need to do to make it the right size, to center it, center the alignment. You want to make it bold. You want to change the font. Whatever you want to do, you want to change the color of the font, the text, that kind of thing. You want to add a photo. You just come in and you go insert and select an image. So you can get it from your Google Drive. You can get it from your Google Photos. You can get it from your camera. You can upload it from your computer. It's just up to you. and just create your files and your folders. Now, admittedly, I will tell you, this is not the most robust application in the Google universe. In fact, I would say it's probably on the bottom of the list as far as I'm concerned, because to be honest with you, I have done most of my graphic work like this using another application. Now, I can take what I've created in Microsoft and import it over to this Google Drawing application. I could do that. But I would say that, it has had its challenges. Now I'm going to click over here and go over to the Google Drive, to the folders, and put in drawings and see if I can put up any of my old drawings. Yeah, see, I mean, it just basically gives you basic tools like this. But I think what's the best part of it is the fact that you can share it so easily online. So, for example, when I'm ready to share it, I can just click on share. And as we talked about before, I could call it the new listing, whatever. And I have a couple of different ways that I can share it. So I'm going to name it first, and then I can share it with other people. So if I'm working with a colleague or someone who has more expertise in creating graphic content, we could actually work on it together. All I have to do is invite them and get that and send it to them. But if I have a completed document that I'm ready to share, I would get the link and just simply copy the link, and then take that link and post it into Facebook, post it into Twitter, post it into LinkedIn, any of the social media platforms that allow you to post a link that people can click on and actually see what's under that link. You can use that. If you have a blog page, if you want to email it out to a bunch of people at once, you could just simply send them the link and it would be active. It's going to be publicly displayed wherever you post it, you see? So the ability to share the content is probably the strongest feature of all of these tools, in my opinion. But this is what it's all about. But again, if you have another platform by which you're creating your flyers and whatnot, you would probably have more success with it. I think that Google really does need to work on Google Drawings a little bit more to make it as robust as it possibly could be. All right. All right. So with that being said, I want to move on because we do have a short period of time to go through a lot of these applications. So I'm going to go back to new. I'm going to click on more again. And now I'm going to go to one of the applications in here that I think is the most fun to use and one of the most useful features. This is called Google My Maps. And let's say, for example, you're scheduling a list of properties that you're going to take the Smith family out to see. And so you've got 5 properties. And so you want to map those properties out ahead of time and then literally share that map with the Smiths, which in turn could take that map and add it to their Google Maps app on their mobile phone. And they can navigate from one property to the next in the order that you place them, with directions turn by turn. You wanted to add a coffee shop or a restaurant in the middle of it to say we're going to stop here and have lunch and chat in the process. You can do that too. So this is one of my most powerful tools. Now I will tell you out the gate, it's not the easiest app to learn, but it is relatively simple. So I want to walk you through it, and I promise you, if you practice this a couple of times, if you use it, you will get a lot of satisfaction out of it. So let's start over here on the left side. And it says untitled map. I'm going to change this and I'm going to create a scenario. Let's say that I'm taking my family on a trip to Washington, D.C. And we're going to go and look at the monuments, and we're going to go to the museums, and we're going to find restaurants, and we're just going to have a great time going to Washington, D.C. Now, right over here, right below where I just named it, it says add layers. So I'm going to start by adding a layer. Here's one already there, untitled layer. I'm going to change the name of that layer, and I'm going to call it monuments. Okay. And then I'm going to start adding monuments. So the first monument I'm going to put in is I'm going to say, let's go to the Washington Monument. Washington Monument, select it, and then it pops up on the map. So here it is, and I'm going to click on that little green spot and click on Add to Map. See, so you can see it over here already. It's already here. So I'm going to add it to the map, and there it is. Now, notice that it gives me some options here. I can change the color or even the style of that pin that it dropped. It's got different colors. So if you wanted to separate the monuments from the museum, let's say we'll make the monuments red, and we'll make the museums green. Okay, and then they've got even icons down here. So there's a lot of them. So here's one that's really popular. So if we were looking at homes, we could change that to a house, or if it's a restaurant, we could change that to, well, that's a bar, but if it's a parking lot, we could change that to a parking lot. There's a suitcase. There's all different kinds. One, you can click on more, and there are many, many more, but I'm going to use house for the time being. All right. So if you wanted to add a note to it, or even add a photograph, add an image. Let's say you had a picture of the Washington Monument. You could actually add an image of the Washington Monument to that. Over here, directions. So you can click on directions to here from wherever you are, and it will give the directions. But we'll talk about that one in a moment. All right, so we got the Washington Monument. The next one we want to add is the Lincoln Memorial. Here's the Lincoln Memorial, and we can do the same thing. We can add it to the map, change the color because it's a monument. We're going to change it to red. And then we'll do one more. We'll do the Jefferson Memorial. Like that. Okay, and do the same thing. Just to keep it consistent, we'll do the same thing. All righty. So we've added the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Jefferson Memorial, and we all see them here on the map in red. Okay. Now, if we need to change the order of these, all we have to do from over here is drag them. And we can move and say, okay, well, we're going to go to Lincoln first, and then we'll go to Washington, and then we'll leave there and go to Thomas Jefferson. You see? So let me close this out so that you can see. There they are. There's the Lincoln Memorial. There's the Washington Monument and the Jefferson Memorial. And when we look at it, we can look at it from the perspective of, once we preview it, are we walking, driving, or taking public transportation? Now, that's a feature of the Google Maps app. So once you add this, you share this with the Smiths, and they take the file and they put it into Google Maps, it will ask them, are you driving, walking, or taking the public transportation? If it's walking, it's going to rearrange them for the shortest distance in walking, using the paths and whatnot that are in the mall. If it's public transportation, of course, it's going to give you the routes based on what's scheduled and set up in the DC Metro's train system or bus system, and give you the schedules. And if you're driving, of course, it's going to give you the available streets. So it's just a really, really great tool. Now I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to say the next layer is museums. So I'm going to change the name of this one and call it the museums. You see, it does take a little, there is a little learning curve to it, but at the same time, it's really kind of simple, okay? Especially if you know where you're going. So I'm going to say the first museum we're going to go to is the Smithsonian, National Air and Space Museum. All right. And we're going to add that one to the map, and we're going to change that color to green because we're going to separate the monuments from the locations. All right, I'm going to change it to blue because the green is kind of a background on the page there. All right, and I know there's a museum icon down there, but I'm not going to look for it at this time. So we're going to go to the Smithsonian, and then we're going to go to the Federal Reserve. See, now there's the Federal Reserve. Same thing. Add to map. Change the color, whatever you want to do. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. And save it. Okay. Let's spread it out a little bit. So there we are. There's the Federal Reserve. And then the last one we'll add is we'll put in the Natural History Museum. There we are. And the same thing. So walking through this process is really simple when you're setting up this. And what I really like about it is any place in the world that you want to go to. If you're going to take a trip to Paris and you want to see where the Louvre is compared to the Champs-Élysées or the Eiffel Tower, you can put them all in there and then decide again how you're going to take the tour. You're going to walk. So you can create different layers and put everything together. And again, if you wanted to change the order in which you're going to visit these things, just drag it and drop it just like that. Okay. Now, when it comes to sharing it, now I'm going to preview it. I'm going to click on what we have so far. This is what the map looks like. All right. Those are our red versions. This is the 3 museums that we're going to go to. And these are the monuments. And these are the museums. All together, just like that. And you can add restaurants. You can add other places. You can put in addresses if you know, and just let it happen. Now, once we've done that, we can simply click on share. So I can share it on public social media, Facebook, Twitter, or I can share it by email. And this one, I guess I got to make it public first. Okay. So I have to make the map public, and then I can share it. All right. So we'll edit it and we'll make the map public. And so it's really, really simple how you do that. And then once I've done that, then I can share it. I think I made it public. There we go. All right. So let anyone with the link view it. That makes it public. And now I can share it. So this is the link. Copy the link and email it to the Smiths. The Smiths will take that as a file, and then they can drop it into your Google Maps on your phone, and now it will navigate you turn by turn if you're driving, turn by turn if you're walking, or follow you on the subway going through that process. If you want to mix up the monuments and the museums, you could do that too. Let's say you want to go to the Lincoln Memorial and then go to the Smithsonian. Just add the Smithsonian to the monuments, if you will. It's really, really simple. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to practice this. It does take a little practice. It took me a while to really get comfortable with learning how to use this tool. But once I did, it really kind of helped things along. So let's say, if you wanted to draw a line or add a driving route, add a biking route, add a walking route, you see, this is what you would do. And so you would add the walking route, and then you could add other locations that you wanted to walk to or drive to. It's up to you how you wanted to do that. So try it, practice it. And once you get it down, then I want you to create a list of showings for one of your clients, and then put in your addresses. And then, based on the locations of those properties, you can choose which ones you want to go to in which sequential order, and then share it with them. Okay. Are there any questions about using the Google Maps that I can share with you at this time? I know it's not the easiest app that you've ever seen, but this is going to be a really great tool. Okay. You're going to get a lot out of it. All right. Okay. Let's go back to the page and let's go to new. And the next and last one we're going to talk about is Google Sites. This one, I think you're going to get the most and the most use of, and the most benefit from. Imagine the ability to create a single page website for each of your listings, replete with every detail, photos, links to other sites, whatever it is that you want. It is a full-fledged website for each of your pages. And not only would this be something that you would easily share with other people, you will also, because you publicly display it, you make it public on the internet, it raises your SEO, your search engine optimization profile. These are the kinds of tools that get you to the first page of the search results. And that's what you really want to have. It's going to get you to that place. They added something recently to create your own theme. So it's giving you more and more tools by which you can be creative with. Before, it would just give you what it had. It had a certain number of templates, a certain type of design, and you just had to work within the frames that they've given you. But they're getting much more expressive with the Google Sites. And this is one of the features that will allow you to go in and literally create your own theme. So you create your own theme, name it. You can say, this is for my luxury homes, and this is for my commercial homes, and just create a theme. And then you want to add your logo. You want to add a banner image. You can have all of those features right here available for you to do what you wanted to do. So let's say I'm going to name this luxury. And of course, you can add a logo and all that. I'll do that for time's sake. All right. Choose a color palette. And let's say for luxury, you want something that's going to give it a kind of a luxurious feel. So I'm just going to select something here. Or you can customize your own color schemes based on a palette. Create your own fonts. You see? Create your own body text. And you can change these around to work the best for you. And then create the theme. And there you have it. It's going to give you the text. Now, you can, of course, you can customize this. You can change the text if you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a site that I actually created that will give you an overview of what you can do with this. This one I created as an example of the power of using Google Sites. And it actually has gotten better since I created this page. Okay. Now, keep in mind, because this is a website, if you came to my SEO and Google Ads and SEO webinar, you understand how much I emphasize the importance of keywords and how the algorithm looks for everything on your page and determines its value to the public that's searching for information. And because of that, it will rank you based on the information that you have relative to their search, how new it is, how up to date it is, and the keywords that they're typing. So when you're creating your website, that single page website, you want to keep in mind that every single word counts. Even over here on the right side, I just took someone's business card that I knew. And even the words on the card, the Google bot can read that. They are part of the keywords, you see? And so you want to make sure that every single word is counted. And you don't have to repeat anything because, once it picks it up, it's going to make sure that it's there. So you want to make sure all the information is there. This was an actual listing some time ago in my neighborhood. And this one particular home with all the photos, here's a YouTube video over here to the right. So you can mix media very easily. So I've got a photograph of a business card here. I've got all these keywords here with my name, phone number, everything, the address of the property, the description of the property, the cost, the listing price rather. And then here, keep this in mind. Every word here is a keyword, and you want to make sure that when you are listing the features or listing the location or the highlights, that you cover all the bases to get a wide enough net. Because, for example, this property is in McDonough, Georgia. But if someone was searching for properties within a price range or properties with certain features in Atlanta, this property is going to come up. Why? Because I put in the fact that it's less than 45 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Okay. I made sure that I put in Atlanta Airport for that business traveler. I put in the interstate. It's 5 minutes from I-75. I put in the county name, mention the schools, mention the state. You see, I'm trying to cover all the bases. I'm thinking about what people search for. If they search for Atlanta, Georgia, I'm going to get their attention because I have both Atlanta and Georgia here in my keywords. I put in the word suburban. I put in the word country, right? I even put in something that's common, Metro Atlanta. You see? So you want to make sure that you use the right combination of keywords. Here are all the listing photos. And if you want to see more, here's a link to 100 more photos. So you don't have to try to put them all on the web's page and overwhelm anybody. If they want to see the rest of the photos, they can click this link that takes them to a Google Photos gallery. We're going to talk about Google Photos in the upcoming sessions, but you can have a whole gallery of photos separate from this that are relative to this property in Google Photos. That makes it so easy for you to share and make it easy for people to access. All they have to do is click on the link. If you wanted to schedule an open house, you can put this in there that would take them to your Google Calendar, which we're going to be talking about in our next session. It would take them to a link in your Google Calendar, and you can actually, in some cases, even set a schedule, an appointment. So if they wanted to come between 12 and 1, you would expect them. Or you could have a list of available appointments. If you're meeting by appointment only, they would be available right there in the Google Calendar. The empty slots would be the available times. That can happen too. All of these are links. Okay, if you want to add more to it, here are spaces for you to create and add text. You want to add text, you want to add images, you want to bring in a document from Google Drive, you want to bring in a form. Any of the tools that we talked about already, they are absolutely here. If you wanted to put in the Google My Maps with the location in it, so that a person can scroll up and down to see where this property is relative to the rest of the community, or how close it is to the interstate, how close it is to Metro Atlanta from a map perspective. You can add that to this page. And so at the point, once you've done so, all you have to do at that point is click on to publish the link. Here's the link. You can share this with anybody. You could put it on your social media and say, here's my latest or my newest listing, and it's a website. Or you can put it in a blog page, or you can put it in an email. So any place where a link can be clicked on, this will work. Now, I want to show you something here because this is important to understand. Once you've published your site, you can always come back in and edit it. Nothing is engraved in stone. But these are important tips to remember. This is what it looks like on the internet. So what you were looking at is basically the edit version. But this is what the site looks like on the internet with the links. The links are active, you see. And this is what it looks like on a desktop computer. What you want to be aware of is how it also looks on mobile devices. Why is that? Because the statistics have told us that most Google searches are done now on mobile devices, phones and tablets, as opposed to computers and laptops. So you want to make sure that your content is optimized for the smaller screen. So Google actually gives you that feature right here in this little box. This is what it would look like on a mobile phone. So you can see it's smaller, more condensed, and it's laid out in a different way. But it's easy to navigate. The information is there, and it's still pleasing to the eye. That's very important because people, if they come to your website on your phone and it's hard to navigate, they can't click properly. If they click on an arrow, it drops and gives them not what they're looking for, they're going to leave. And the algorithm is going to push your site down because you're not getting the time on the screen that you would or should get. So you want to make sure that it's optimized for the smaller screen. Here is what it looks like on a tablet. More screen real estate, so it spreads it out a little bit, but the same content is still laid out. All the links are still working there, but it's more it's more condensed than it would be on the desktop, but less compact than it would be on a mobile phone. You see, and then again, we can go back and see what it looks like on the larger screen. So that's an important point that I wanted to illustrate. When you are creating this content, make sure you look at it from all those different perspectives so that you'll know that this is how you want it to look ultimately. All right. So let me come back to the editing page. And again, you see all you're doing is creating boxes with information, filling in the information with text or graphics or what have you, and reorganizing them so that you can optimize the screen. All the tools are right here on this side. You want to insert text, images, something from Google Drive, or embed it from your website. It's all right here. These are the different layouts, right? These are the different ways that you can put in buttons or dividers or placeholders, anything. You want to put in a YouTube video, click it here, find that video and import it right into the site. Here's how you can use your calendar. We're going to talk about that next, our next session, how to use your Google Calendar to create appointments. So if you're having an open house or you're scheduling a particular property by appointment only, you can have it right there so that people can come in and fill in their own calendar events. And you'll just get a notification that someone requested that you meet them at the property at 2:00 on Tuesday. Okay, that kind of thing. So it's all here. Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets. You want to add any of those content from your Google Drive into the site, no problem. Google Forms, charts, it's all here. If you clicked on pages, you can come in and actually create new pages. That's what we were talking about in the beginning, how you can create your own themes right here. These are the basic themes that are already part of the system, but you just saw how you can create your own themes, customize them, give them their own color schemes with their own fonts, all of that. And again, just like with Google Forms, I want you to play around with this. Have some fun with it. Create, get with the children or the grandchildren and create a site that they would find interesting about a particular subject with links to, air and space, whatever. It will definitely be something that would be fun to do, but at the same time, you're learning how to create your own web pages. Once you're happy with what it looks like, all you have to do is click this blue button right here that says publish. Once it's published, it becomes part of the Google algorithm. It becomes part of the internet, and it is searchable at that point. So if anybody was searching on that, if anybody was searching for that particular site, or if they were looking at this particular address, your site would come back as one of the search results. That's one of the real gifts here. So you want to take full advantage of this. And I'm going to be available, of course, to give you a hand if you run into a problem. I have a question here. Alberta asks, can you import a page you've made in Publisher or Word? Well, the answer is yes. What I would suggest, if it's in Publisher or Word, you take that document and you convert it into Google Docs. If it's a Word document, convert it into Google Docs, and then open up your Google Docs right here and bring it into the site. Okay. If you have in Publisher, I would say it may be a little bit more challenging because Google Drawings, in my opinion, as I mentioned earlier, is not that robust. But if you have it in Google in Microsoft Publisher, you can actually just copy the elements and paste it into the page yourself manually. So give it a try and see how it works for you. See if it's easy for you to do. And if it is, that's all the better. And I hope that works. So that was a very good question. I'm glad you asked that, Alberta. Are there any other questions that are out there that we can address right now? Because I really wanted to emphasize these apps in the Google Drive world, because above and beyond Sheets, Docs, and Slides, these tools that I talked about, Google Forms, Google My Maps, Google Drawings, Google Sites, will change how people discover you on the internet. All of these are really designed for you to share this content in your social media, in your blogs, in your YouTube videos, in your email, however you want to share them. The capability is here. And whether or not you're putting them on your social media or on your blog pages, the algorithm, what they call the Google bot, if you came to the SEO webinar, it will pick those up. And even though it's part of your social media, those links count. And it will raise your SEO profile, and it will make it easier for you to be discovered, and you can engage with more people more often. So this is going to be a really powerful suite of tools for you to use, and I want you to get started as soon as possible just by simply practicing with them, having some fun with them, get comfortable with what they can do, and then once you're comfortable with using it, then create professional sites, create forms, create maps, and what have you that will really work in your favor. I think you would really like to see what it can do for you, but just have some fun until you get it. That's all I'm saying. And you'll be able to really enjoy what this technology can do for you. If you're working with a team, make sure that you always go through the process of you're working on a document, share it with them, right? Just put their name in and give them the editing rights, you see, so that they can come in and work with you at the same time if you want. So if you're working on the document, you can work on it together and that kind of thing. If you want them to just watch what you're doing, just give them viewing rights and they'll be able to view it, but they can watch you in real time as you're updating the page, right? The links, this is how you get the link to how you're going to share it with anybody. Share it on your social media, share it on your blog pages, share it in email. Basically, it's just going to give you a link, you see? And then you can share that link or you can do it from here. You can, this is the public. Once it's been published, it'll give you this link. Copy this, paste it into an email or on a blog page or on your not your Instagram, your Facebook or Twitter, and now people will have direct access to that site. All right, you can't lose with this stuff. That's why I want you to really practice it and get really good at it and use it. It is going to be something great. All right, so Melissa says she wants my contact information again. So let me switch over and put the handout. This is the handout. Okay, so you're going to be getting this if you haven't gotten it already. And if you haven't gotten it, this is how you get it. You go in and you put in my email address at gwilliamjames.com, william@gwilliamjames.com, and simply put in Google Drive 2 as your subject. And oh yeah, I can see on my list here that I'm getting quite a bit. And yeah, they're coming in now. I can see them. And you're going to get the handout. Okay. What you're also going to get, and I got this question on yesterday. I'm sorry, on when we were doing Google Drive 1 a couple of days ago, I mentioned that I am creating what I'm calling the Google Universe Masterclass. And someone actually said, I went to your website and I couldn't find it. It's not posted yet. I'm going to post the release date very soon. I am currently working on the program. It is a step-by-step guide to all things in the Google universe, starting from contacts all the way through SEO, through calendars and the Google Drive and all of these features, but I get to go much deeper into them than I ever could on any of the webinars because of time. It is a self-paced masterclass, so you can watch it anytime you want for as long as you want. Each section will be in modules. So when it comes to Google Drive, I may spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on those subjects. I may spend a whole hour on just ways that you could use Google Docs, for example, just to make sure that you get a full comprehensive view of what the technology has to offer. But you can do it at your own pace, and that's the key. So once I get that completed, I didn't realize when I got started how much work was involved in creating this type of content with the video and the graphic content with the text, and then I've got to do the voiceovers. It is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and so I've had to push it back a little bit. But when I get ready to announce the date, I want you to know that it's coming. And I'm actually thinking about, for people who will prescribe before the release date, to offer a deep discount. So we'll see how that works too, but it's coming. And it, again, will be more than anything I could do in these webinars. As much as I can provide in the webinars, which I think is substantial, I try to focus on the most popular, the most necessary, and the most convenient features of each of these applications. But I will be able to dig a little deeper when I get into the masterclass. So look forward to that. And I'll be sending out invitations for each and every one of you to enjoy it. Now, I want you to take a look at this, and I want you to see that our next webinar is not for a couple of weeks yet. It's going to be Monday, November 22nd. That's Thanksgiving week. So I hope that you're able to come and make it, because you don't want to miss this. Google Calendar Magic. You have a Google Calendar. You probably have I don't know what you're using. You might use Outlook Calendar. You might be using other calendar applications on your smartphone, your tablet, even on your desktop, but you don't want to miss this, because I'm going to show you really the magic of how Google has created this time management and productivity system that will change your life. And I will tell you that I started my speaking career teaching time management and productivity way back in the day. And so a lot of things that I taught back in the 80s as a very young man, when it comes to time management and productivity, the principles still apply. If you want to be more productive with your time, you want to get more out of your day, you want to get more successful with what you're doing with your time, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. And to be able to integrate it into your calendar system, with your Gmail, with your Google Drive, with your contacts, they all talk together. They all really make one powerful mobile application. And I want to show you how that's going to work for you. So don't miss this, 10 o'clock a.m. on Monday, November 22nd. And you're going to really love what we're doing here. So don't miss that. So there's the information. We have any more questions? I'm here to answer questions if you have them. If you don't have the question now, or you get into the apps and yes, question Ingrid asked, is this offered through the NCJAR? Just like this one. Yes, the NCJAR is hosting these, so you will definitely have to sign up for them, and encourage your colleagues to do the same thing. Okay, this is offered through the association, so you want to be here for all of these webinars. We've got a number of them yet to go. But you'll notice as you start to come to the webinars and you see what we're offering, you're going to see how they integrate. I mean, it's amazing. I kind of gave a hint when I did the contacts and CRM webinar a few weeks ago, how the contacts work with the calendar and vice versa. So you're going to be amazed at what you're going to be able to do with these tools once you've had an opportunity to customize them for your own personal use, and to see how well that they work in concert with each other. So you're really going to enjoy all of that. All right. So if you need to get in contact with me, if you come up with any questions above and beyond this right now, you can always email me. Just drop me an email at william@gwilliamjames.com. And I have a 100% success rate at answering your emails. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and I have yet to miss responding to an email I get. So if you email me, you will get an answer back from me. So make sure that you do that. All right. So guys, it's been great. I hope you get a lot out of Google Drive. If you didn't get to watch Google Drive 1, contact the association and find out if it's available to watch the first part of this webinar, and then you'll see how it integrates all together. But November 22nd, Google Calendar, don't miss it, and don't let your colleagues miss it either. It's going to be fantastic. So listen, I thank you guys for coming to spend your morning with me. I appreciate it. Go out and enjoy this fall. I know it's absolutely beautiful in New Jersey this time of year. I love fall anyway, and I've had the times that I've driven up through central Jersey, through all of your communities over the years, even coming up to Morristown, coming into the association to do my webinars, my presentations live. But enjoy the process. Enjoy. Good luck with the sales. Go out and make some money this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the 22nd. So if there aren't any questions I can answer, and I appreciate that, Ingrid, I will see you guys on the 22nd. That's in 2 weeks. So we'll see you then. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Take care.